Now this new Spinnaker is a limited edition piece with the Dolphin Project, where Spinnaker donate a portion of the profits to the organisation. Basically buying this watch helps protect wild dolphins. Now I'm not usually a big fan of limited editions, but I do think Spinnaker do it the right way by putting the limited edition number on each piece, and the collaborations that they do as limited editions tend to link to the style of watch quite well. Now Spinnaker have sent over the ocean blue variant of this new model, but there is two other colour options, a turquoise dial and a black dial too. Now I do get to keep this watch after the review, but Spinnaker have had no input in the creation of it. Now I'll first take you through the specs of the watch, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and then some final points of consideration. Now the model that we have in today is the Spinnaker Croft midsize, and it's my first experience with this particular model. This piece comes in with a full 316L stainless steel construction, and the majority of the watch is brushed. There seems to be just one polished edge along the side of the case. The negative end links are solid, and the bracelet has solid links. The clasp has a pressed upper, but a milled lower with micro adjustment and a diving extension. The glass is a flat sapphire with AR treatment on the underside, and we have a 120 click unidirectional bezel that has fantastic action. And the aluminium bezel insert features loomed numerals and markings. There's super luminova throughout the dial, notably on the dolphin pattern in the centre. The signed crown and case back are screwed down, giving us 150 meters of water resistance. Powering the Croft is the Seiko NH35 with a colour matched date wheel, and the price is $425. However, using my affiliate code TTT20 will get you 20% off your order, bringing the price of the watch down to $340. What really makes this watch for me is the size, because usually Spinnaker tend to make their watches on the larger side that don't really work for me. This one though has a 40mm case diameter, a 47mm lug to lug, and a 14mm thickness. With those negative end links, the watch does wear true to size. It feels substantial on wrist, but also comfortable. And I'll also mention that this piece doesn't feel like it's 14mm thick. It does actually feel much slimmer when it's on the wrist. Now I think that the spec sheet on offer for the price is fair. It's not spectacular, but it's fair. But I think it's the dial of this piece that really makes it stand out. There's more detail on this dial than you'll typically find around this price point, with that beautiful dolphin print in the center of the dial, and different levels to the dial too, with the outer surface being slightly raised and the center being slightly lower. Those different levels also have different finishes, with the outer dial featuring a grain texture, but the applied indices look so great. They really do pop out of the dial. The handset works flawlessly with the indices, and I absolutely love that dolphin counterbalance on the second hand. I like how they've triangulated the 15-minute markings on the bezel, a touch that some people might not notice, but I think it's quite cool. The bezel is also fantastic. It's super easy to grip, and there is no backplay or bounce. It is super responsive and an absolute pleasure to operate. However, the lume on this watch is disappointing. The indices don't glow as much as you'd hope, and there's definitely enough real estate there for the lume to be fantastic. The lume does glow rather well at first, but it just fades rather quickly. The lume on this is definitely a little bit better than the previous models that I've reviewed, but it still could be miles better, and I think it's about time that Spinnaker upgraded their clasps. The pressed aspect of the clasp just feels cheap. Now I don't really have a big problem with this watch only being 150 meters. At least they're being honest about it. I'm sure that some micro brands just slap 200 meters on the dial without even testing the watches properly, but I don't see the point in having a diver's extension on a watch that can only go 150 meters. After all, that rating technically isn't capable of diving, so please Spinnaker, ditch the diving extension on these lower water resistant models. I'd much rather see some more micro adjustment holes, or treat us all to some on the fly adjustment. Now in terms of the watch head, the case, the dial, that's all fantastic. The design is beautiful and it works, but the rest of the watch is letting it down. The clasp works and it does its job, but I feel like it's way behind the curve of what other brands are offering, and I'd actually say that's true of the lume too. Now this is the most comfortable Spinnaker that I've worn in terms of the size, and I think it looks incredibly well proportioned when on the wrist. I think that this is the best Spinnaker watch that I've reviewed, at least from my personal taste in watches. They've done a fantastic job with the design, the watch feels incredibly solid and it wears well. But please Spinnaker, do something about this bloody cheap clasp on your future models. If you are interested in picking this watch up, you'll find a link to the Spinnaker website down there. But if you haven't yet seen my last video where I made the case that affordable watches are actually better than luxury watches, then you should definitely go and watch it. It's a little bit controversial, but it's good fun. Go and check it out. I'll see you over there. Bye for now.